hinges came in. These are my hinges, and I bought brand new hinges with brand new springs. And before I put the hinges on, I had already scuffed up. You can see this, the hinge is fully scuffed and pretty much prepped for paint. So I took advantage of a little time that I had. And anyway, it's all prepped. Now to get these springs on there, as when you order these hinges, they don't come with the springs already on there. I used this tool. And basically what I did was I attached the hinge onto the car using the bolts. And as you can see, the bolts have already been refinished, as I do with all the bolts, with my phosphoric acid treatment to get rid of all rust. I leave it in there for a couple days, you know, at least 24 hours. And then I put my truck bed coating on them. And I attached the hinge onto the car. And now that the hinge is attached to the car, I put one side of the hinge on, and then with the other side I grab it with the hook and I pull, and I get it onto its mounting location. Now, so that it resembles the way the stock springs were put on originally, here I have the original stock, and what I did was I ensured that the spring ends were facing exactly as they should when it was installed on the car with the stock parts. So basically, for example, this one here, the spring, you see how it curves towards the right, and on here I did the same thing. It curves towards the right. That way it matches. And then on here it curves upward, and as you can see, the stock one curves upward. And those are the kind of details that I tend to look at. I mean, it's probably doesn't even matter, but to me, I just wanted it to be the same as it was originally. Now, these springs I'm going to be removing. I'm not going to paint the springs. The springs are powder coated in black and they look awesome. So basically I'm just going to paint the hinge so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, and I'm going to leave the springs black. So the next step is to get this hood on the car. And then let's see, I'll show you, I also refinished the hood bolts. You can see how nice they came out with my treatment. So they look like brand new bolts. And I also treated this here. You see it's been completely stripped, and of course the phosphoric acid did the stripping for me. I left this in the solution for a week, and in the bottom I just coated it, and you see there's a run there, but I don't care. It's the bottom, and it's probably gonna get some overspray when I paint the hood. So I just wanted to make sure I get that area so that it's rust free. And then the bolts for the hinge has also been refinished. And then these bolts, I just couldn't stand the way they looked. If you've seen past videos, these bolts were red, and then after doing my modification, they peeled, and I just didn't like it. So I removed all the paint from the previous coatings that I put on there when I did this, and did my phosphoric acid and coating on there, my black coating. So we'll see how the hood fits. So I got the hood on and I got it aligned. There's the gaps on that side, and then on this side there's a gap for this side, and then the gaps for the panel, and you can see I taped it so that I hold it in that gap. And then I'll go on to the other side, and here's the gap for this side. Very happy with the results, but to get it to have those alignments, oh, and let me just show you the alignment for here, the front, you see it aligns, and then for the front over here it aligns, just that this fender kind of curves inward. I don't know why, but I could either slice off a piece of this front hood to make it align, so I don't know if I'm gonna bother with that, but that's how it looks so far. And then as you can see, I got the old hinges on, and the new hinges are right here. Well, in order for me to get the alignment, I had to use the old hinges. When I had the new hinges on, I had put the hood on and I closed it, and the hood was actually off on this side. It was actually in too much, 1/4 of an inch, and then this side was pretty good. But then these hinges, the new ones, did not have any adjustment. For some reason they drilled the holes exact, and I couldn't adjust the hood. So I was thinking about elongating the holes to give myself some adjustment. So I took the bolts out and I positioned the hood, and when I did so, it shifted the hood so much that it caused me to have chips. So I have to fix that. They're minor, but I have to fix that. But it got me thinking, let me try the old hinges. And I put the old hinges on, and psh, instant perfection. Plus, the other thing I didn't like about the new hinges is that the hood only opened up this high. So I had to, you know, I mean, it was just too low. And with the factory hinges, it opens up really wide. So I'm gonna have to use the factory hinges. I'm gonna clean them up, and I am going to use the springs because they're pretty. They're nice and black, so I'm gonna take the old springs off and use the new springs, and then of course I'm gonna paint the hinges red. So I have to do some rust treatment on the hinges, and they work fine. The hinges work, they work great. Now the other thing I had to do for adjustment is I had to actually elongate the holes on this part of the fender, and you can see I welded, and you'll see some pictures of the welds. They're going to be coming up. But I had to actually weld so that I can close off the holes, and then now I have to repaint this. And it's an easy fix because all I got to do is just mask off this area and then blend the paint in. I'll sand it down and then blend the paint into the side of the panel, and it's inside, so it's no big deal. The blending will be just like when I blended this, when I did the welding and it messed up that hood latch. I was able to blend it, so it's going to be the same process. So I'm going to blend that and fix that up. But you can see how much I weld. The original holes came to there, and I had to weld to fill in that hole all the way, just so that I can get the adjustment I need it to get the gaps perfect. So that's the fitment. So it's going great right now. I mean, so far it looks great. This one I didn't have to do any adjustment. I mean, I even took off these to try to, you know, move the radiator support back and forth to try to get the alignment. But that's the best I can do. And you know, I shifted it over as much as I could over that way, and I still had to do some modifications to this fender to get it to fit right. But the adjustment is perfect. I'm very happy. I just don't know if I'm gonna bother to do this. I mean, this is a driver, it's not a show car or anything, so I'm not sure if I should even attack this. I mean, I don't want to go ahead and sand this down, you know, cut it off, and then find that I have to weld, and then I don't know if I want to go through all of that. I can, and I can make that look great, but I'm not sure if I want to go ahead and go through all that trouble, because it's just I mean, it's so minor, you know, it's really minor, so it's not going to be something that someone's going to be looking at. So I don't know, I'll think about it. Well, I decided that I was going to fix that area, and you can see now the gap is much straighter. And all I did was I took a hammer, just a regular hammer, and I started banging on the side right here just a little bit until I got it to till the panel was straight. You can see it now is pretty straight, and then I grinded down a little bit of a lip that was here, and then there was a lip on this side, so I grinded it down smooth, and then over here I grinded some, and I didn't go and cut through the hood, so it worked out. I got it to be straight without it having any welding involved. So I'm very happy now. You see that it's much straighter, and now it goes and conforms with the body line that I like. So I'm very happy. So there it is. So I had to do a lot of welding to those holes, and I also used a washer. But when I originally put this bolt in, I used the washer. And where's my wrench? Let me pull this out and I'll show you. So the washer helps me keep the fender aligned while I did the other one. So you can see there I used the washer, and that's going to ensure that this fender doesn't move. And the washer is exactly the same size as the head, so when the head is on top of it, it doesn't show. So that's the plan that I had. I only had one washer, so that's why I decided to go ahead and fill the other one. So that's the way it looks. I mean, it is a little raised because of the washer, but it's no big deal. It's under, and when I do the blending, it's gonna look great anyway. So I'm gonna be doing that. Okay, so you see I got it all prepped, ready for paint. It's all scuffed up. I feathered out the areas there so that when I paint it doesn't show too much. I'm gonna give it a couple of coats to build it up, because obviously over here and over here is not perfectly straight, but I'm gonna build it up and probably sand it in between just to build it up a little bit, make it look a little nice. After I get it fully covered, then I will do the clear coat, and the same thing, I will build up the clear coat and then wet sand it nice and smooth so that it'll look like nothing ever happened. And you can see I masked off the fender and my engine the best that I could so that I don't get any overspray. Well, here I got 4 coats of base. I did nice 4 heavy wet coats, and so now I'm going to wet sand it with 2000 grit sandpaper, to try to get it a little bit smooth. You can see some of the little bumps there. So I'm gonna sand it down just to give it a little bit of a little bit more of a level finish before I clear it. So I'm just gonna do just a little sanding. Okay, so I wet sanded it. I started with the 2000 grit sandpaper, but it didn't work out too well. So I decided to go with a wasted 150 grit sandpaper, and for lubrication I used my wax and grease remover, and I got it a lot straighter. You can see it's nice and straight. So now I removed quite a bit of material, and with the wax and grease remover and the 150 grit, and so now I'm going to give it one very light coat of the red, and then let it flash, and then I can clear coat it. So that's what I'm up to now. And well, here we are with 2 coats of clear, and it looks great. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's under the hood, but I blended in my welds. Very nice. So that looks great. And then I also took care of these 2 areas. If you remember, I had 2 chips, so I went ahead and took care of that and get that all cleared up. So that one doesn't look like it never happened. No damage now. But this is pretty much ready to go. Did 2 wet coats of clear. Yeah, about 2 wet coats. So there it is. Just blended it nice. I blended it nicely, and I'm very happy with it. So that's all done. I wasted my money on the new hinges. You know, it costed me about $80 plus the shipping. You know, like $70 plus the shipping. And then right now it's just scrap. So they're not great. These holes, even though they look like they have some adjustment, it doesn't. I mean, they actually drilled the holes wrong. So it ends up being a screw is over here, and the other screw is over here. So can't do anything about that. With the new ones, I mean with the old ones, this elongated hole is actually over here instead of all the way down here. So that allows you to move the hood back and forth. So there you have it. Hood is on. Now I get to have the pleasure of removing it and now doing my body work on there. So there you go. Thank you for watching.